This is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. Today is another edition of Mad Cat Smash Feminism. 27. And remember, double check your work, feminists, because I will be double checking everything you do. All right, so let's get started today. My computer not being so stupid today, so there's hope in this world. There we go. All right, Gamergate can't be solved by the government, says Australian senator. Okay, this is interesting. I don't report on Gamergate too often, even though I'm not a major supporter. I'm a supporter of Gamergate, but this one really caught my eye. Let me zoom this up for you. In the wake of the ongoing internet culture war Gamergate, women and minorities are fighting to have their voice heard in the gaming community. Yeah, it's called Gamergate. Women and minorities are a part of Gamergate. Maybe you've heard of the Not Your Shield hashtag, where women and minorities were sick of other people using them as a weapon against Gamergate when these individuals, these groups, these women and minorities were a part of Gamergate. But should government lend a hand? No. Alongside Star Wars cosplay, Fallout 4 promos, and VR headsets, conversations about equality were happening everywhere at the recent gaming convention PAX Australia in Melbourne. Gamergate all started in 2014 when the former boyfriend accused a female independent game developer of sex trading for positive media coverage, which she, of course, denied. Well, yeah, of course she denied it. People wouldn't willingly admit something like that unless they were deranged. In the nature of the internet, it escalated. Although one side insisted the fight was over ethics in game journalism, the movement resulted predominantly in women in gaming being harassed online. Yeah, by the anti-Gamergate side. Anyone hear of Liz? She was doxxed. She was harassed online, and she's a pro-Gamergate supporter. The movement resulted predominantly in women in gaming being harassed online, women being driven out of their homes in fear after threats of violence. Oh, are you talking about Brianna Wu, who was forced out of her home, and then by the next week she was doing an interview in her own home that she claimed that she wasn't in, and later it was found out that being forced out of her own home because she was on vacation? And most recently, events proposed to discuss the controversy being canceled due to yet more threats. Threats done by the anti-Gamergate side. You make it sound like it was Gamergate who did the whole SXSW thing, but it wasn't. Yeah, I see how you twist that around. Again, feminists, I'm going to double check your facts. Now, the audience for gaming is more diverse with white male stereotype. The fight, more diverse than the white male stereotype. The fight has become about the broad and welcoming a church the gaming industry can be. It already was prior to Gamergate. the white male stereotype. I mean, anyone remember once upon a time when the stereotype of playing video games was something that rappers did, and most rappers are black? But until once Gamergate happened, it was it's nothing but white people. Speaking on October 31st, Lanham told Mashable Australia the government has no direct role to play in Gamergate, but it cannot bow out entirely. I don't think the government has a role in culture wars, he said. Anytime a government is engaged in a culture war, it always tends to end badly. That's a very wise thing to say. Nevertheless, government certainly has important levers to pull in not making a bad situation worse. He suggested how women are treated politically in Australia will necessarily be reflected in smaller communities. Gamergate was a very specific to this ecosystem, but it also feeds on wider cultural norms around gender and diversity, who gets to set the rules that everyone plays by, he explains. Again, Gamergate includes women and minorities, and gaming world has been a very diverse group of individuals. It's not like a bunch of white guys got together and said, hey, this is our thing and no one else is allowed to have it, and we prevent you from being a part of our thing. God, I mean, I talk about my guild back in the day, but we accepted women in the guild. Hell, some of the best operations officer, which is basically like doing raids in WoW, my best operations officer was a woman. And it was her first MMO, and she was fucking amazing. And she didn't take any shit from anyone. The only thing that we really cared about is, could you follow orders when it was given to you? For 2 years, our Minister for Women, former Prime Minister Tony Abbott, was a man, and his greatest achievement as Minister for Women was abolishing the carbon tax. That's insulting and sets the cultural norms. So, which part was insulting? That he abolished the carbon tax, which I have no idea what that is, or that he was a man as a minister for women? So what part is the insulting part? Australians, my Australian fans out there, can you let me know about what part about this is insulting? Because I don't understand. Ludlum understands the stakes of the fight begin being wagered in the gaming community over whether women and minorities will be included as the industry grows. They were already part of the industry. And whether games can reflect their interest and sensibility, but resolutions won't come via legislation. Ultimately, something like Gamergate can't be sorted from the outside, he concluded. It's a cultural hand grenade for this community that only it can sort out. It's not going to be resolved by someone passing a law. Oh, but you will try. So let's look at some comments. If you are a journalist, you should have at least taken care to verify your claims. This article is full of lies. Women were harassed. Where is the independent verified evidence except for those same women's words who are making those allegations? And as a result, gaining a lot of attention and sympathy and earning a lot of money selling their victimhood. And their crony journalist backers like you. Even the police has verified that the threats to Anita are not credible and no charges have been laid. Also, did you know that thousands of women and minorities rally around Gamergate with Not Your Shield? Take your dumb opinion elsewhere because no one believes your narrative except those of the echo chamber feminists. Well, see, actually, people do believe this narrative. People who are on the outside with no skin in the game read something like this, like, oh, so Gamergate is a bad thing. So, yeah, people are believing this that are not a part of this fight, and that's the problem. Is that the news media is still against Gamergate because it's easier to convince people that people hate women because women are already the victim in our society than to say that anti feminists controlled by prominent women are hating on men. Because in that case, well, what did these men do to get this response? Women and minorities are fighting to have their voices heard in gaming. Women and minorities are in gaming community. Yeah, see, we're getting more of the same thing. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to the next article. Oh, yeah. So this one is rather interesting. Women are just better at this stuff. Is emotional labor feminism next frontier? So this was like a really badly written article, so I'll be skipping around a lot. We remember children's allergies. We designed the shopping list. We know where the spare set of keys is. We multitask. We know we're we know when we're almost out of Q-tips and plan on buying more. We're just better at remembering birthdays. We love catering to loved ones, and we make note of what they like to eat. We notice people's health and force friends and family to go see the doctor. Now, she's speaking about women are good at this and men are horrible at it. But, it's like for many of these things, single fathers have to know these things. Most fathers and husbands in marriages have to do these things as well. Although the stereotype is that they don't have to, that no, it's the woman that has to take care of it. And force friends and families to go see the doctor. How do you accomplish that? Maybe have your own children do it, but we listen to our partner's woes. Forgive them the absences, the forgetfulness, the one-track mindness while we're busy organizing a play date for the kids. We applaud success when it comes. The grant that was received, the promotion, it was their doing and ours in the background. Besides, if we work hard enough, we can succeed too. All we need to do is learn to lean in. But what if, much like childcare and household keeping, the sum of this ongoing emotional management is yet another form of unpaid labor? And that was just so wrong, it had to be put in purple, but it's kind of the theme of this entire article. Let's continue reading. If you think this is pushing it, you would be wrong. The concept of emotional work and emotional labor, as represented, taxing and under acknowledging acts of gender performance, has been a field of serious inquiry in social sciences for decades. Jennifer Lena, and she just goes through so much of this bullshit writing. Oh, she doesn't look at her drink, she stares at it. And it's like, what the fuck does this have to do with your article? Nothing. Get to the facts. That's what journalism is. Not like a screenplay for your next show idea. How about you just tell us what's going on? Your next story is on emotional labor as the next feminist frontier, she repeats back at me. But that is sociology 101. I've been teaching undergraduate students about that for years. More blah, blah, blah. Jess Zimmerman. Zimmerman framed emotional labor as something especially occurring in private, while academics first focus on it as a formal workplace issue. It is perhaps because more and more women are entering formally male-dominated professions, and they're noticing that the extra emotional, say, female-type work is expected of them. In a work context, emotional labor refers to the expectation that a worker should manipulate their actual feelings or the appearance of her feelings in order to satisfy the perceived requirement of her job. Emotional labor also covers the requirement that a worker should modulate her feelings in order to influence the positive experience of a client or a colleague. Okay, this is raging bullshit to tell me that a woman has to do this. Because you know what? I know a woman has to do this. You know how I know this? Because men also have to do this. Men have to regulate their emotions, and oftentimes they have to act in a way that doesn't come naturally to them. They have to modify their behavior from what they want to do in order to be successful at their job. This is not a gendered issue. This is not, oh, women are forced to change their emotional state to accommodate the needs of the client. I mean, I had to do this when I did phone support, and I did it for 8 years. And I'm not really the most pleasant person, and yet when I'm on the phone, I'm a very pleasant person. I'm a very helpful person. And the company goes through a lot of training about how to speak, about what words to use. All about modifying the way you talk and the way you sound in order to get better customer appreciation for what you were doing while maintaining the status quo that the company wanted you to keep. I hated it, but I did it. So don't tell me that this emotional labor is something that only women have to do. It also includes influencing office harmony, being pleasant, present but not too much, charming and tolerant, and volunteering to do menial tasks such as making coffee or printing documents. Okay, so where do you think these jobs are? Are you just talking about a corporate business environment? Or are you being a secretary? What jobs are you talking about? Because I guarantee you, most jobs don't have, oh, can you make coffee or print this document for me? Oh, I have this PDF that I need you to print out. I would do it, but I can't press Control P and the OK button. Are you fucking serious? What is this, the 1960s? And I'm sure my friend Cassie goes into work and they tell her, by the way, could you make some more coffee? I used the last bit of it, and you're a woman, right? No, she probably doesn't go through that. And if someone does ask her to make the coffee, it's probably because they ask everyone to go make the coffee, and she's not being singled out because she's a woman. But I'm sure you feminists would probably think that she was. It was because she was a woman. Hell, she's being groomed for higher management. Not higher management, but for management. And I know in my career of phone support, no one was asked to make the coffee. Everyone was kind of asked to make the coffee. Hey, if you're the last one to take it, go ahead and put a new filter in there. And most of the time, people didn't. Men and women alike didn't. So if you wanted coffee, you had to go and do it yourself. And this whole office harmony, you know what? I had a manager come and tell me once that I was really negative around the office and that I had to change my behavior at the office because they got sick of me questioning everything that they were doing or that the company required of them, that I was highly volatile in the way I talked to people, and not necessarily on the phone. I was fine on the phone, but I was very negative and very sarcastic, and it was preventing them from being able to talk to others. So they asked me to change my behavior. So again, not a female-only problem. Think of air hostesses, which was one of Hochschild's main examples in 1983. Are we talking about stewardesses or air flight attendants, air hostesses? Does anyone use that as a term? Having to cater clients' needs and accommodating smile and sympathetic ear, no matter how tired or disgusted they are by a vomiting child or a sleazy business class male customer. Or how about those unreasonable female passengers that want to complain about everything? You see what I did there? You made sure that it's a male customer that you had to include in there. Well, you know what? Women can be problematic customers as well. Don't make this a gendered issue. Stop making this about us versus them. Stop making this men versus women, because you know what this makes it look like? You hate men. When you make it a man versus woman sort of thing, you make it look like you hate men. And then you're like, well, we don't hate men. Well, this is proof that you do, hon. This is proof that you hate men. Think, too, of the female politician who is expected to be likable and fun, as well as intelligent and capable. If this rings a bell, it's because Hillary Clinton aides are urging her to show more humor and heart. Well, you know, male politicians also go through that. They're told to be more personable, to be more likable, and to be fun. But then there's also different expectations that are put on men and women. And they also know that women are more likely to vote for a man than they are a woman. So they're probably telling Hillary Clinton to do more things of humor and heart, because men naturally do this already for their campaigns, and they're trying to get her to convince women to vote for her. Because whoever wins the female vote tends to win the election. Think of your morning Starbucks barista. Well, I don't drink Starbucks, so there you go. Who drew a smiley face on your cardboard cup of coffee this morning. Did she really want to go the extra mile today, or was it just part of the job expectation? So are you saying that the male barista doesn't do smiley faces. That's a shame. The way I think of emotional labor goes as follows. There are certain jobs where it's a requirement, where there is no training provided, and where there's a positive bias towards certain people, women, doing it. And also the kind of work that is denigrated by society at large. Well, here's the kicker. If you think this is true, then let me throw something at you. In most businesses I've worked at, where, yeah, emotional labor goes into it by both men and women are more likely to promoted to higher positions in the company than men. So you might think, oh, well, women are being oppressed because they have to be more emotional, flexible at work than men have to. Well, guess what? They're more likely to get a promotion in the customer support industry than men. I saw it time and time again. Because women are more likely to get positive customer reviews than men. Men and women connect better to women than they do to men. And men have to work much harder to get those positive customer ratings. Research suggests that circumvently, ongoing emotional work is exhausting but rarely acknowledges as a legitimate strain, and as such is not reflected in wages. Whoa, 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 whoa. You want to get paid more money because of an emotional strain of having to change who you are at work? Because, they tell us you leave your problems at the door. When you come to work, you come to be professional. Whatever emotional shit you've got going on, you don't take that into work. And now you want to get paid more for that? The growth of low-wage service industry jobs where the service with a smile is an expectation has helped further entrench the phenomenon. Here, emotional work is not an added value. It is rather a requirement to get workers to the bare minimum. Yes, workers, not women, but workers, because both men and women must deal with this. In the US, where the federal tip minimum wage is just $2.13 an hour, this is further accentuated. In those jobs, the employers is expecting emotional output, but is unwilling to pay for it. The duty to recognize emotional work is offloaded onto the client, who is then expected of emotional fulfillment and satisfaction before providing the extra money. Okay, but only as a waitress would a woman face this sort of thing. And you know what? There are male waiters too. Yes, I will acknowledge that women are more likely to be a part of the being a waitress than men are being a waiter. Okay, I will acknowledge that. However, you can't say that this is a gendered issue or that they have to modify their emotions in order to be of a service to customers and then tell me that men don't have to. Of course they have to. But even then, well, no, both men and women have to. So why is this even a problem? But now you want to get extra money provided for women because of something that both men and women have to do? This has a nefarious consequence, especially for women. According to a study by ROC United, a worker center representing restaurant workers, women living off tips in states that have a $2.13 minimum tipped wages are twice as likely to experience sexual harassment on the job compared to women in states with higher base wages. Now, unfortunately, the study that's linked to requires me to pay for it. So I can't really analyze it and understand what the fuck it's talking about, or how is it measuring that women are more sexually harassed. It's probably by their customers, but while that's unfortunate, that has nothing to do with their wages. That just has everything to do with their job. And since the test of time, waitresses have been harassed. Recent data suggests at least 2/3 of the low wage industry is female, with half of these workers women of color. Well, that's may be true. It may be true that women are, minority women are in low wage industries. But many of those low wage industries are not industries that require them to smile for their job. I'm wondering what those low wage industries are, and this article really didn't link to anything to let me know what that is. Just expects me to know or just to believe. Even a more prestigious industry, Rami says, thought this would be about the orgasm gap. Dead air is dead air. Is it dead air on here? Or not? No. Okay. Oh, thank God. That scared me. I've been in this video for quite some time. Okay, so even in more prestigious industry, Jessica Collette, a professor of sociology at the University of Notre Dame, explains men and women may both be engaged in the same degree as emotional labor formally, but women are expected to provide extra emotional labor on the side. Citations, please. For example, boardroom members, male and female, may have to smoosh clients to the same extent, a formal expectation that goes with their jobs. But women may be expected, on top of this, to contribute to Arvis harmony by remembering colleagues' birthdays or making chit chat to staff. Male colleagues may do this too, but if they do, it will be noticed as a plus. Isn't he sweet and generous with his time? Remembering colleagues' birthday. Huh. Well, so basically what you're saying is that you want to be recognized for the extra work that you do, and you're jealous if someone else gets recognized. Okay, you poor dear. You did a great job writing this article, and you're a woman too. That's really special. You should be proud as a woman for writing this article. Even though it's complete bullshit and it's poorly done, you should feel good that you get to put your voice out there. Is that what you want to hear? Do you want a pat on the head for doing your fucking job? And get jealous? Oh, well, she just said that my male partner did a really good job and didn't say I did a good enough job. Oh, grow the fuck up. How about you just worry about your own shit and not worry about what other people are getting? And if you want more money, do more work. Don't expect to get money for something that is a requirement of everyone to do. This remark was echoed by a successful female human rights lawyer and a friend of mine who recently complained about the expectations that she should engage with office administrative staff every morning, something she was happy to do, but also felt she had to do. She needed to be seen as kind and competent in order to be respected, something her male colleagues never bothered. I mean, at least your other links for 3, 4, and 5 actually led somewhere that specifically stated that. Now, I don't 100% trust the World Health Organization because it doesn't even look at boys a whole lot for the troubles they face. It is heavily influenced that women are automatically the victims and that boys are not, even if they are being victimized. But even then, the other statistics, I double checked on other resources and it seems to say the same thing. There's a good chance that it's true. It could also just be that they're all pulling from the same resource and assume it's true. But, don't try to tell girls that they're, oh, well, nothing has really changed for feminism in 100 years. Try telling them the actual truth that it's the third world countries that need help. And instead, focus your work on helping the third world countries instead of dealing with bullshit that happens in the first world. Because you know who needs help in the first world countries? It's men. We need men's rights acknowledged in the first world. So, feminists, you're done here. You go to the third world. I mean, I hate to release that burden onto the third world because I think feminism has been a shining example of what not to do in society. But if you really feel that you need feminism because of what happens in a third world nation, then you go and to a third world nation and do something about it. Get off your bony ass, get off your fat ass and go and fucking do something and stop going on Tumblr and saying, oh, someone oppressed me today because they looked at me for a second too long or didn't catcall me because I'm a fat fucktard. Go and do some fucking work. Go raise awareness. Go join the Peace Corps and go dig a well in some poor village. Do a Kickstarter, raising money to donate. Well, I don't think you can't do that with Kickstarter, but go do a charity somewhere to raise money for awareness. If you think this is what the problem is, if this is why you think feminism is still needed, go address the problem. Go deal with the issue. Don't guilt the rest of us to do your dirty work. Because all that makes you look like is a fucking hypocrite. Yes, there are men and women, boys and girls from around the world that are in need of help. And my heart goes out to them. And if there's any way that I can help them, I would love to try. But right now, my focus is on the first world because men are being treated badly in our society. And that is where my fight is focused on. Because I'd rather clean up house first before I go outside and try to clean up the world. I want to make sure that in my country, men and women are properly represented in all aspects of life before I try to determine that the rest of the world needs to change. Warped Reflection, good to see you. You're joking. You want them to leave their safe spaces and deal with real shit? No, I'm not joking on that one. I know it sounds like a joke, but no, I'm not joking. I want them to leave their safe spaces and deal with reality. But even then, they'll find a way to make Africa a safe space. Well, you can't attack Africa. It's a safe space. People were taken from here and forced to be slaves in America. You do know that it was the African nation that sold slaves to the first world, right? And that slavery still exists within Africa itself, right? I always want to say these to these feminist bitches that talk about white appropriation and how bad the white man has been to the world at large. But, going back to my point, if you think this is why you need feminism, then go deal with the actual issue. And don't put little girls on display and say, oh, well, the world is a lot worse than you think it is. Go and do something about it. Stop wasting my time. Because all you're doing here is showing me that you really don't give a shit. You just want men to feel guilty that they're doing something bad, while men in the first world are not doing anything bad to women in the third world. You know who's doing something bad to women in the third world? Well, they're the same people who are doing bad things to boys in the third world, men and women. It's not just men who are doing it, men and women partake in abuse of children. Men and women are abusing children. People are abusing children. And we need to stop this. We need to stop people from abusing children. You see, what I'm doing there is I'm not using gender. I'm calling it out for what it is. People abusing children in third world nations. Let's solve that problem. Stop people from abusing children. If I could figure out a way to make that into a hashtag, I would, because that's what's needed. Anyways, that does it for me today. Join me this Thursday. I will have special guest NC Clark on doing more articles. And I thoroughly enjoy having her on. And yeah, she's going to bring her death threats folder. So tune in and see what you can do to be put into the death threats folder. So if you like what I'm doing, be sure to check out my Patreon. Go ahead and leave a tip there. Now, this Patreon is for my medical costs that I'm trying to become a functional member of society again. And unfortunately, since I'm unable to work, I'm unable to raise the money myself, or otherwise I would. That's why it took me so long to actually do a Patreon, despite being disabled for the past 3 years. So if you like what I'm doing and you want to donate to me, I'd greatly appreciate it. I have over 300 subscribers, and if each one of them gave me $1, that would be enough to start getting my life back in order, to getting the medical help that I need, getting insurance, possibly even getting better quality videos out for you. However, if you're not comfortable with doing Patreon, I have a link down below for my book. Now, that's for the free ebook. However, it's part of a series, and that free ebook acts as a prologue to my second book, which is the core story. So just go ahead and click on Dagar's series on that page, or my name on that page, Chris Vody. And then if you want to donate for me, one of the other best ways, buy my book. It's only $2.99. So anyways, yeah, join me this weekend for NC Clark. I thoroughly enjoy having her on, and it should be a lot of fun laughs. And this will do it for me today. And this is Mad Cat signing out.